Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following story that we're going to be listening to, it was sent to me by one of our dear brother, and this is the translation of the message that he sent to me. The translation reads like this. Hello, Brother Nash, how are you? My name is Brighton, not his real name. Originally, I am from Zim, but I have been living and working in South Africa for many years now. I came to South Africa like a very long time ago in search of better opportunities. South Africa made me to be who I am right now, even though I am not rich. I'm just struggling in life, but it is far much better than what I used to be before. What I am about to confess to you, it is something that I have been keeping in my heart for the longest time, and I feel like I just need to let it out, for I cannot keep it any longer inside of my heart. So I used to work for this other man. So this man, I was working for his construction company, and then I started working for another man who had seen that I was a hard worker. He approached me when my boss was not around, and he told me that he wanted me to stay behind after we would have completed the construction project, and that brought me face to face with evil. And since then, my life has never been the same. These spirits, they are the ones that are troubling me right now. It was back in 2014. I was hired by a man, the one that I told you about. He was a South African government official, so we were working at his house. First of all, we started working at his house, which is in Johannesburg, but later on, we were told by our boss that we were going to move out and we would go and build his house in Port Elizabeth. It was a big contract because the house that he built there, it was quite big. And the money that we were going to be making, our boss told us that there was going to be bonus money because this man, he wanted this house to be built as quickly as possible. So we went there, and when we were there were about 10 of us that were working on the site. We all thought that it was just another job, but from the start, something felt wrong. This house, Brother Nashi, I do not want to lie to you, it was big. It is quite a very big house that we were building for this man. This was like a massive mansion that we were building for him. The official seemed to be in a hurry, like to get it done. He would come each and every day. We used to call him the angry boss because whenever he would come, he would be screaming and telling us that we needed to move quickly, move quickly, gents. That is what he used to say. He used to visit the site almost on a daily basis. It was not just to check the progress. Later on, I found out, because I was the one who was now staying at the site. This was after one of the aluminium sliding door had been stolen, so he hired a security, but he then had a quarrel with the security company, and he then spoke with me and he said that he was going to give me money as a security as well as working at his house. So every now and then in the evening, I noticed that this man, he was bringing a sangoma, a traditional healer, to perform some strange rituals. At first, I did not even think much of it. I thought that maybe it is just their culture, the South African culture. After all, I said some people believe in rituals to protect their property, but this was different. This man, he then banned me from praying at his house because he caught me one day. I had my white garment on, and he asked me where I was going to, and I told him that it was the time of the day when I pray. He told me that he does not want me to pray at his house. One day when we were laying the foundation, this was even before the time when I started staying at that place, this man, he came with the sangoma. He came, it was in the afternoon. Some of the boys, they were sleeping because we had worked really hard on that day. So somehow I just woke up when this angry boss came with the sangoma. They started going around patrolling as if they were checking our progress. That was when I saw from the corner of my eye that they were performing a ritual. They had slaughtered a chicken, and when they slaughtered the chicken, they poured the blood into the foundation. And when I started staying there like 24/7, this man, Brother Nashi, he made me to dig sort of like a trench around his mansion. It was not like really deep. I can say around about 30 centimeters. He said you can measure it with the spade. So I had to dig around the mansion, just a small trench And this is what this man will do. He would bring his sangoma, and they were now slaughtering the goats, but they will do this in the evening. So they would slaughter a goat and then pour it into that trench that was so close to the house, and they would be muttering some words that I could not even understand. The blood soaked into the soil, and each and every time that they will do this, I would feel so uneasy, because he will then give me the meat to eat. So in that area, people started to know that there was this guy from Zim who was always having goat meat. So there were people that would come and buy the meat from me. As the construction continued, the rituals did not stop. The sangoma kept on coming back after some of the guys would have knocked off, each time bringing more animals to slaughter, goats, chicken. And when the final project was done, he brought a cow, Brother Nashi, and they poured the blood of that cow into that trench. The blood flowed freely, and then the official insisted that the rituals were necessary for the strength and the protection of the house. By the time that the house was completed, strange things began to happen. This official's children started getting sick, one after the another. It did not even take 10 years. It only took 3 years. They all died one after the other. It began with his eldest son, who fell ill, passed away suddenly. Not long after, his second child followed. And then in the 3rd year, that was when the 3rd child, I could not believe what was happening. The official seemed so distraught, but he did not stop the rituals. Instead, he became more involved with the sangoma, spending more time with him at his house. Then something unimaginable happened. One day after finishing the last phase of the construction, the official called me into his office. He handed me 20,000 rands in cash, money that I had never seen in one place before. I was just suffering. This man, he was paying me 2.2 a month, and to think that he would give me so much money, I was happy. At first I thought that it was a bonus for the work that I had done, since I told him that I wanted to return back to my country. He then looked me straight in the eye and he said to me, "It is good that you are returning to your country, and keep your mouth shut about what you have seen here." Brother Nashi, when he said that, I felt my blood boiling. I felt so nervous. I knew at that moment that I was being paid off to keep quiet about the rituals, the blood, and the death of his children. I took the money, but still I felt so sick to my core. I told myself that it was just for my family back home, that we needed this money to survive. I could not shake the feeling that I had made a deal with the devil. I left Port Elizabeth and I traveled back to Zim. Me and my wife, we tried to invest that money that I had brought with me from South Africa, but nothing came out of our investments. I was broke within a couple of months. All the business that we had invested in, they were not even working at all. I then returned back to South Africa, desperate, much more desperate. Not long after I had returned back to South Africa, I started seeing things, dark shadowy figures that appears out of nowhere. At first I thought that it was my imagination, but the visions kept coming. I would see the spirits of the people who had died in those rituals, and each and every time when I see them, when they try to speak with me, they can't, because their tongue would have been cut off. At night, there are times when I can't even fall asleep, because each and every time when I try to close my eyes, I can hear as if they are crying, trying to speak with me, but they cannot speak to me. I am haunted by the things that I witnessed. So I moved to Witbank, hoping that the distance would help. But no matter where I go, it is like these spirits, they follow me wherever I go to. And the bad luck, the type of bad luck that I am facing, it is just unimaginable. And you just don't have any idea how many people, how many construction companies that I have worked for. Once I start to work for that company, then the business of that person will start to fall down. Dear listeners, right there was a translation of the message that was sent to me by our dear brother, hoping that you were able to understand the translation. Strange things indeed, they do happen in this world.